Hey, it's time for today's video. I want to recap a little bit about what we've done so far this year. And we looked at the scientific method where we studied different kinds of waves, microwaves, and so on. Yesterday we took a look at analyzing data that was in a table. And today we're going to look at data that's in a graph. By the end of the lesson, you should be able to use a very powerful tool to come up with a pretty neat graph or two or three, however many you choose to do. We've been using data from the Green Bank telescope, but we could be doing this with data from any source. I just thought it would be better to use something local. So let me go into today's lesson. Today's the 21st. So if you're into Schoology, you would click on classwork for the 21st of October. When you get into the folder for that day, you'll notice there are no bell ringers. I'm going to knock off the bell ringers from now on. They were just extra work. They were important because they help you think a little bit about what we did the day before. But to help everybody out, we're just going to knock those off. So there'll be less work for you guys to do and less work for me to grade. So let's look at the assignment for today. Click on the assignment folder, of course. And there's two things in the folder. One is the directions, so let's look at that. And basically says that the directions with an example are located in the Word document in this folder. So once we get out of this, I'll show you that file. When we're finished following the directions, you're going to submit a graph from this page that we're on. And it'll be a graph that you're going to create. So let me go back to the folder we were just in. And down below here are the directions. It's a Word document. It will open in Schoology. And here are the directions. If you are able to click a couple buttons and do a screenshot, you can do this activity. Even though it looks real complicated, it's kind of like a scientific calculator. Ooh, visual aid. You know what all the buttons are for on this thing? I know what all of them are, but do you? And probably not. Even if you're real good at math, there's things on there that you'll probably won't use for unless you get into the real high math. But you're going to see the same kind of thing here. There's going to be all kinds of buttons that you can push, but you don't have to use all of them. We're just going to use a couple, so we'll know how this works. And we're going to go to that site we were on yesterday, the ATNF Catalog, and we're going to learn how to tell this thing to do a graph for us. And the directions are here, but I'm going to go ahead and skip and go to the website. But you can come back and read these. But essentially, let me just quickly go through. You're going to go to the website. You're going to put a check mark. We're going to start with age and spin period of a pulsar. When you do a graph, you got to tell it what do you want on the x-axis, what do you want on the y-axis. So you'll have to enter that. And you'll click on the plot button. Plot means graph. And just by doing that little bit, it'll come up with a graph for you. Then we'll talk a little bit about how to make that graph a little bit better. And you'll end up with a nice pretty graph like this. And you'll have to send that to me. You could either do a screenshot or any other method you've learned up to this point. And if you even need to, just take a picture of it and send it to me. I've had students doing that. But whatever method you feel comfortable doing, that would be good. So let's go ahead and go through this activity. Click on the link, and you'll see the nice pretty page we were at yesterday. And you see the table button that we used yesterday. And right next to it is that button that says plot. That's the one we're going to use today. In the example, it says to put a check mark where it says age. Do you see where the age button is? Yes, it's way down here. That means the age of the pulsar. And then in the directions, it tells you to click on P0. That means the period, how long it takes for that pulsar to go all the way around once. So these two buttons, everyone can click two buttons. So that's all we've done. Now we want to tell it, what do we want to have on the x-axis? What do we want on the y-axis? And you put that, skip something, didn't I? Plotted output, x-axis. And in the directions, it says what to put for x and what to put for y. For this activity, I don't really remember. I think I had age for the x. No, I had period for x. It won't really matter for this. Now, you have to type it in exactly right. And they want you to put P0. It's not an O. For y-axis, we'll put age. You get them backward, that's okay. We're just learning. So that's it. Click on plot and we'll get a nice graph. And pretty graph, but it's kind of hard to read. All the data is kind of squished together. And so in math, there's a way to spread out the data, and it's called logarithms. You don't really have to understand that, but basically it just spreads out the data. And underneath the graph, it says toggle logarithmic x-axis. So if I want to spread out the data on the x-axis, I click that button. If I want to spread it out on the y-axis, I click the other button. It's running a little slow as usual. It's a lot slow. I know everybody's internet at home is also having issues. There we go. Once it loads, you'll see a pretty graph like this. And we're not going to go into what it means at this point. We're just learning the process of creating the graph. And that's basically it. Now in the directions, it'll tell you to create your own graph. I don't want you to just make mine. And I give you like 6 things to pick from. So pick any 2 out of the 6 that you want to use. And in that document, let me pull that up. You have a choice between P0, which is the period, age, and we just did that, DM that we've already studied, DIST means how far away are these things from Earth. F0 is a frequency. B-surf is new, we haven't talked about, but it's magnetic field. And that's it. So you pick any 2 of the 6, and you go follow steps 1 through 6 that I have right above. And after you get your pretty graph, you got to send it to me, whichever way you feel comfortable. So that's essentially the assignment for the day. If you have any questions, give me a call at school, and maybe I can help you. I've also been getting a lot of messages, which is good. I can help you that way too. So good luck. Bye.